Today was clearly the day Angel and Nicole were supposed to get married. Yet, as she wore her wedding dress to the evening reception hall, the venue was empty, with only her family members looking grim. Meanwhile, I was currently on my way back to the company. My assistant sat in the passenger seat, his fingers quickly scrolling across a tablet. His voice reporting steadily. "Mr. Angel, the bank has received the message. Senor Ray of Goldman Sachs indicated that the loan approval for Techno Lunar will be immediately frozen. Senor Leon of SpaceX has also confirmed that they will take over Technolunar's client base under our conditions." I leaned back in the seat, closing my eyes to rest, feeling a little sad and also a little afraid. Nicole was built by my own hands. Over the past 5 years, from the initial shaky steps when she started her business, until now, when Techno Lunar had gained some reputation in the industry. I watched her advance step by step, and I was accustomed to silently clearing obstacles whenever she was in trouble. Her personality was stubborn and competitive, always wanting to prove she didn't need anyone's protection. Therefore, I never told her how many contracts she thought were successfully negotiated by chance were actually paths I had quietly paved. How many preferential policies she thought she stumbled upon were relationships I had smoothed out beforehand. Did not matter. What I wanted was never her gratitude. I only wanted the unyielding light in her eyes when she stood beside me, and occasionally, when she leaned on me. That statement, tinged with a little dissatisfaction. "Angel, give me a hand." Until this morning, I was still very moved. Nicole was finally about to become my wife. In the mirror, my expression was calm, but my heartbeat was a little faster than usual. Assistant Diego Cortez silently appeared behind me, presenting a folder. "Mr. Angel, final confirmation of the wedding procedure." I glanced through it and nodded. "The ceremony begins in 30 minutes. The guests have all arrived." Nicole must have changed into her wedding dress and is waiting in the dressing room. "Are things ready over there?" Miss Nicole finished her makeup and hair 20 minutes ago. Diego paused, then added, "However, she seems a little anxious." I raised an eyebrow. "What's wrong?" Assistant Hector still hasn't arrived. The name Hector Valero made my fingers pause slightly. He was Nicole's personal assistant. A young man of ordinary ability but highly regarded by her. He had been with the company for less than a year, yet he was involved in core projects. And Nicole even insisted on having him in charge of the wedding rings and the safekeeping of important documents for today's wedding, simply because he looked like her deceased first love. She never clearly stated this reason, but I knew it better than anyone. "Traffic jam?" I asked in a flat tone. "It's unclear." Diego lowered his eyes. "Miss Nicole has called twice to urge him. Assistant Hector only said he's still on his way." I looked at my watch, said nothing more, and strode toward the dressing room. Opening the door, Nicole was standing with her back to me, looking out the window. The train of her wedding dress spread across the floor. Hearing the sound, she spun around abruptly. Her makeup was perfect, her eyebrows delicate, her lips a fresh color. But her expression carried a rare touch of confusion. Her fingers tightly gripped her phone. "Angel." She quickly walked over, her high heels making a dull thump-thump sound on the carpet. "Hector still hasn't arrived." I reached out to hold her shoulders, calming her emotions. "Don't rush. What is it?" He said he's stuck on the highway, and it will take at least another hour. Her voice trembled slightly. "The wedding rings are with him, as well as the final draft of the supplementary agreement with the investor and the ceremony procedure USB. They are all in his hands." I narrowed my eyes slightly. "Highway traffic? At this hour? Tell him to hand the items over to an express delivery service or report his location. I'll send someone to get them." I spoke calmly. "The wedding will not be postponed." "No." Nicole almost immediately refuted, her fingers unconsciously clutching my sleeve. "Those things are too important, they can't pass through anyone else's hands. Besides, he's my assistant. He's stuck on the road. How can I just ignore him? Can we postpone the wedding for an hour, please?" A flicker of guilt flashed in her eyes, but it was quickly covered by stubbornness. I silently looked at her. Nicole could not be unaware of how important today's ceremony was. Top global partners, highly influential figures in the industry, even the elders of Tesla's main board, were all seated in the guest area outside, waiting to witness this wedding. Yet she wanted to postpone it for the sake of an assistant? Nicole. I spoke slowly, my voice very soft but every word clear. Have you thought carefully? What does stepping out of here now signify? Her eyelashes fluttered, but she didn't back down. Just 1 hour. The guests will understand. They will understand? I gave a slight laugh, reaching out to stroke her chin. The force was neither heavy nor light, but it made her subconsciously retract her neck. Do you think the time of everyone present here, including mine, is less valuable than an assistant who is late? Nicole's expression changed. I didn't mean that. But Hector, what about him? I interrupted, my gaze completely cold. Is he more important than your wedding day today? More important than everyone present here? More important than me? The last sentence was almost ground out between my teeth. Nicole opened her mouth, seemingly wanting to argue, but finally just bit her lip tightly, stubbornly turning her face away. Angel, you're exaggerating, just 1 hour. When I come back, everything will be as usual. Saying that, she snatched the car keys from the table, dragging her wedding dress as she rushed out. I stood still, not stopping her. This was her choice. The door slammed shut, making a loud sound. The dressing room was frighteningly quiet. I lowered my head to look at the wedding ring on my ring finger, then slowly took it off. The dressing room door closed behind me, cutting off the sound of Nicole's departing footsteps. I stood in the darkness of the hallway, my fingers unconsciously fiddling with the wedding ring I had just removed. The platinum edge rubbed against my finger, the clear, dull ache reminding me how absurd everything was. All for an assistant, a worthless person who couldn't even arrive on time. I closed my eyes, and when I opened them, the last bit of warmth in their depths had vanished. At the end of the hallway, Diego silently appeared. His gaze fell on my empty ring finger. A slight movement, but he said nothing. Mr. Angel, it's 20 minutes until the scheduled ceremony time, he reminded me in a low voice. I hummed, then strode toward the main hall. The moment the main hall doors were opened, a rush of laughter and chatter flooded in. The light from the crystal chandeliers was too dazzling. The shattered light reflecting from the champagne tower made one's eyes sting. The hall was packed with guests, dressed splendidly, their faces bearing social smiles, as if all were immersed in a fabricated joy. How ironic. I walked expressionlessly through the crowd, heading straight for the main stage. My steps were very steady, even graceful, but the surrounding sound gradually quieted. Doubtful, scrutinizing eyes focused on me. Why is Mr. Angel walking alone? Where is the bride? Did something happen? Whispers spread like a tide. I acted as if I didn't hear them, walked straight up to the main stage, and took the microphone. Esteemed guests. The amplification made my voice loud, clearly carrying throughout the large hall. The remaining chatter immediately ceased, the entire hall fell silent. Everyone's eyes were fixed on me. I calmly looked down at the audience, slowly beginning. I apologize. In this moment that should have been filled with joy, I must trouble you. I paused for a second. My tone as calm as if stating an unimportant fact. Nicole believes that her personal assistant Hector Valero's inability to arrive on time due to unforeseen circumstances is more important and urgent than the wedding ceremony, which we have prepared for months. More important than the sentiment you have shown by traveling from afar. And even more important than the feelings of her future husband. The moment my words ended, a huge uproar erupted below the stage. Some people took a sharp breath, some stared in disbelief, and some had already pulled out their phones to record. I could even imagine what the financial and entertainment news pages would write tomorrow. Shock. Bride abandons groom to pick up male assistant on wedding day. Techno-Lunar CEO Nicole calls off wedding for assistant. I curved my lips slightly, but my eyes were icy. Based on Nicole's clear choice and priority, I continued, my voice neither high nor low, but making the entire hall fall silent again. This wedding has lost its original meaning and foundation. Therefore, I, Angel, officially declare here The wedding scheduled for today is permanently cancelled. The two words, permanently cancelled, sounded like a terrifying thunderclap. The audience instantly exploded, a mix of astonishment, discussion, and camera clicks. Some people stood up to ask questions, some tried to move forward. The scene was chaotic. I ignored them, bowing slightly. The inconvenience and losses I have caused you today. My assistant Diego Cortez will be responsible for handling entirely and providing reasonable compensation. My deepest apologies once again. Please enjoy yourselves. After speaking, I put down the microphone, turned, and stepped off the stage. The waiter standing nearby held a tray of champagne, his face still showing lingering astonishment. I paused, opening my palm. The wedding ring lay quietly there, emitting a cold light. Without hesitation, I relaxed my fingers. A clear clinking sound. The ring drew an arc in the air, falling precisely into a glass of champagne on the waiter's tray. The golden wine rippled slightly, the ring slowly sank to the bottom. Like a silent funeral, the entire hall was struck dumb. I didn't look back, heading toward the side door. Diego appeared beside me like a shadow, his voice extremely low. "Mr. Angel, the car is ready." I hummed, not stopping my pace. Behind me, the noise in the main hall erupted again. Faintly, I could hear someone loudly questioning. Someone making a phone call, and some people had already begun rushing out. Perhaps to chase after Nicole or to pursue the news. None of this concerned me anymore. The moment I pushed open the side door, the cold wind hit my face. The sky was overcast, heavy clouds looming, as if a major storm was imminent. Diego quickly followed. "What's next, sir?" I pulled open the car door, my voice frighteningly calm. "Activate the contingency plan. I want Nicole to know exactly what she has lost." The highway wind whistled past. Nicole gripped the steering wheel so tightly that her knuckles were white. In the passenger seat, her wedding dress lay in a tangled pile. The phone rang just then. Her best friend Carla Linners's voice was tinged with sobs. "Nicole, come back quickly. Angel canceled the wedding." He announced it publicly in front of everyone. Nicole suddenly slammed the brakes, the tires screeched on the asphalt. "What?" Her voice was distorted, not sounding like her own. "Angel told everyone that. You felt Hector was more important than the wedding, more than the guests, more than him. So he announced the cancellation. Angel even threw your wedding ring into a glass of champagne." Nicole's mind went blank, her ears were ringing. Carla was still saying something, but she couldn't register a single word. Cancelled the wedding? Just because she was an hour late? How could Angel do that? She tremblingly hung up the phone, her fingers shaking as she dialed Angel's number. "I'm sorry, the number you have called is temporarily unavailable." Calling again yielded the same cold, robotic female voice. She furiously sent a text message. "Angel, are you crazy? You canceled the wedding just because I was an hour late? How can you be so cruel and unreasonable? Pick up the phone, let's talk. Do you know what you are doing?" The messages sank into silence like a stone dropped into the sea. Panic and anger surged like a tide, drowning her reason. She abruptly punched the steering wheel, the car horn blared loudly. The car behind honked impatiently. Only then did she realize her car was still stopped in the middle of the highway. Taking a deep breath, she forced herself to calm down. Find Hector first, get the wedding rings and documents. After that, what then? Go back and marry Angel, complete the wedding, or have a huge fight with him? She didn't know. But at this moment, she could only step on the accelerator and continue driving forward. This Angel, when I bring Hector back, I'll definitely give him a piece of my mind. But she didn't know that Hector had not gotten onto the highway at all. He's at a convenience store browsing his phone right now. Diego's voice carried a subtle hint of sarcasm. I slowly opened my eyes. Indeed, a useless person, even his lies are clumsy. Send the location to Nicole, I said indifferently, so she can see with her own eyes what she truly gave up her wedding for. Diego nodded, his finger lightly sweeping across the screen. Sent. I looked out the window, the scenery was blurred. But my thoughts were perfectly clear. Nicole must have received the news of the cancellation by now. She will be angry, She will be confused. She will be frantically calling and texting me. Unfortunately, Nicole will never receive a reply. The phone in my pocket vibrated. I took it out and glanced at it. The screen displayed a series of unread messages. Angel, are you crazy? You canceled the wedding just because I was an hour late? How can you be so cruel? Pick up the phone. Let's talk. Do you know what you are doing? The last message was sent 5 minutes ago. You just wait. I'll be right back. I emotionlessly locked the screen and tossed the phone aside. It's too late. The glass door of the convenience store was forcefully pushed open, slamming into the wall with a loud noise. Nicole stood at the entrance. The train of her wedding dress was soaked by rainwater, clinging coldly to her calves. Her drenched hair was stuck to her face. Her makeup was smeared, and she looked utterly miserable. The few scattered customers in the convenience store stared at her in astonishment. In the corner, Hector Valero was sitting cross-legged, playing on his phone, an unfinished cup of coffee placed beside him. His hair was messy, dark circles were prominent under his eyes, and he faintly smelled of cheap alcohol and perfume. There was absolutely no indication that he had been stuck in traffic. The blood in Nicole's body froze instantly. Hector. Her voice was icy. Hector snapped his head up, saw her, and his expression immediately changed. He awkwardly stood up. Nicole CEO, why are you here? He stammered, his eyes evasive. I was just about to call a cab. The traffic jam was too long, so I came here to rest for a bit. Nicole glared at him, her chest heaving violently. The lie was a complete lie. She had abandoned her wedding, abandoned Angel, abandoned all the guests for this lie. And now, this useless person stood before her, disheveled, his mouth full of deceit. Get in the car. She ground out the two words, turning and walking away. Hector hurriedly grabbed his backpack and followed. Nicole CEO. Listen to my explanation. I really didn't mean to. I had a work engagement last night, drank a bit too much, and overslept this morning. I was afraid you would be angry. Nicole suddenly spun around, her eyes sharp as knives. Shut up. Hector fell silent. In the car on the way back, the atmosphere was terrifyingly suffocating. Nicole tightly gripped the steering wheel, her knuckles white. The rain was intensifying. The wipers worked frantically, yet the road ahead was still unclear. Her phone vibrated wildly. Hector in the passenger seat awkwardly handed it over. Nicole CEO. Your phone. Nicole glanced at it. It was the number of Vice President Javier Campos of the company. She pressed the answer button, and before she could speak, Javier's trembling voice came through. Nicole CEO, we're in trouble. We just received notification from the bank. Our $30 million bridge loan has been suspended for approval. Citing qualification issues, we have an $8 million payment due tomorrow for goods from Google. What should we do? Nicole's breath hitched. It gets worse. Javier's voice almost collapsed. I just received an email from Apple. They unilaterally terminated all cooperation. That's our biggest client. Nicole's eyes darkened. Apple, that was the core client Techno Lunar relied on for survival, accounting for 70% of the company's revenue. She fumbled to hang up the phone, then opened her mailbox. Indeed, an email from Apple clearly stood out. Recent assessment indicates that Technolunar's management has significant uncertainty, making it impossible to guarantee the stability of the supply chain and subsequent service support. We hereby officially announce the termination of all cooperation agreements between the two parties. Effective immediately. Impossible, she muttered, her trembling finger scrolling down. Immediately afterward, a voice message on Instagram automatically played. An investor's voice was cold and distant. Nicole CEO. I heard there were some issues with the wedding. We are very concerned about the stability of the company. The contract signing scheduled for next week. We need to re-evaluate the risk and temporarily put it on hold. The phone dropped onto the seat. What a wretched woman. To abandon a potential husband for a gigolo. Bankruptcy serves her right. Nicole staggered up, but found she had nowhere to go. Her parents' cheap rented apartment, they had severed ties with her last month. Friends' homes, since the news of bankruptcy spread, all phones were unreachable. The phone in her pocket suddenly vibrated. It was a multimedia message from an unfamiliar number. The moment she opened it, she felt like she was struck by lightning. In the photo, Turing's face was covered in blood. kneeling in a corner of the casino, his head pressed down by several burly bodyguards. The caption, "Debts must be paid." The last photo was a close-up of his face being pressed into a gambling table. The eyes that once reminded her of her first love now held nothing but naked, base fear. The phone slipped from her hand and fell into a puddle, making a soft plop. Nicole suddenly laughed. The laughter grew louder and louder, finally turning into a desperate scream, causing passers-by to continuously step back in fear. She's crazy. She's gone mad. Nicole had indeed gone mad. Mad enough to lose the only person in the world who was genuinely kind to her. All for a piece of trash like that. The pouring rain washed over her face, making it impossible to distinguish between crying and laughing. From a distance, the siren of an ambulance echoed. But she knew no one would come to save her anymore. The office on the top floor of the Blackstone building. Outside the floor-to-ceiling glass window was the illumination of the entire city. Diego knocked and entered, his tone calm. "Miss Nicole is downstairs. She says she wants to see you." I did not look up, continuing to review the documents in my hand. "Tell her to go home. Security has already stopped her 3 times." Diego paused for a moment. "She refuses to leave, saying she can wait until you agree to see her." I folded the documents, looking up and out the window. 3 months, since that rainy night. Nicole had completely disappeared from my life. Until today. Let her up. I wanted to see what other ridiculous things she could say. The office door was gently pushed open. Nicole stood at the door, looking even more haggard than the last time we met. She wore a simple white shirt and black trousers. Her curly hair, once meticulously styled, was now just casually tied up on her head. She wore no makeup, the dark circles under her eyes were prominent. She had lost a lot of weight, her wrists were slender, as if they might break. Her whole body looked like a piece of paper drained of water. Pale, fragile, and easily shattered. But Nicole's eyes were terrifyingly bright, staring intently at me, as if grasping the last straw of salvation. "Angel." Her voice was very soft, carrying a cautious tremble. I did not stand up, nor did I invite her to sit down, only looking at her indifferently. "What is it?" Nicole seemed hurt by my tone, her fingers unconsciously clutching the hem of her shirt, but then quickly letting go. Taking a deep breath, she walked up to my desk. "I have thought for a very long time." Her voice dropped. "These past few months, I have regretted every single day." I said nothing. Her eyes were red-rimmed, but she was trying hard to hold back her tears. "I was wrong, Angel. I truly know I was wrong. I shouldn't have abandoned you for Turing. I shouldn't have taken your sacrifices for granted. And I definitely shouldn't have disgraced you at the wedding." Her fingers lightly rested on the edge of the desk, visibly white from the force she was applying. "The most foolish thing I have ever done in this life was losing you for a piece of trash." I gave a cold laugh, finally speaking. "So what?" She seemed hurt by my coldness, but stubbornly continued. "I know anything I say now is useless, but I still want to tell you. The person I love has always been you. Turing, I only saw him as a replacement for Steve. I couldn't distinguish my feelings. I was too stupid, but now I understand. You are the only one I love." Nicole raised her head, tears finally falling. "Angel, I don't need anything anymore. The company, my reputation, money, I can do without them all. I just want to be by your side. Even if it's just as a maid, as a secretary, or even as your plaything. Anything. If you're not at ease, I can sign a prenuptial agreement. I can give up all my assets. I don't need anything. I just need you." Her voice grew softer and softer, finally turning into a plea. "I beg you to give me one chance. Just one." The office sank into a deadly silence. I looked at her tear-stained face and suddenly found it ridiculous. Nicole, who was once so arrogant that she looked down on everyone, was now humbling herself to the dust, begging me for a scrap of love. It was truly laughable. I slowly stood up and walked over to stand in front of her. She looked up at me, her eyes filled with hope. I reached out and grasped her chin, the pressure neither heavy nor light, but it made her tremble violently. "Deep affection that arrives late is cheaper than weeds," I said softly. "Nicole, Why didn't you do this sooner? Her pupils suddenly constricted, as if she had been stabbed. That day, at the wedding, I gave you a chance. I let go of her and turned to walk toward the floor-to-ceiling glass window. It was you who chose Turing. Her voice was shaky. I truly know I was wrong. You know you were wrong. And then what? I didn't turn around. Do you think an apology can erase everything? I can compensate. I can. Compensate with what? I interrupted her, my voice ice cold. My honor? My sincere heart? Or the wedding you destroyed? Nicole sank to the floor where she stood, her face deathly pale. I turned back, looking at her swaying figure, and suddenly felt tired. Leave, don't make me call security. She stayed put, unmoving, tears silently streaming down. After a long time, she spoke in a hoarse voice. Do you truly not love me at all anymore? I don't love you anymore. These 3 words were like a knife stabbing into her heart. She stumbled, nearly losing her footing. All right. She raised a hand to wipe her tears, forcing a smile that was uglier than crying. I apologize for the intrusion. She turned and left, her back as fragile as a sheet of paper. The office door gently closed, making a very faint click. I stood still, looking at the city lights outside the window. Suddenly recalling 5 years ago, the first time I met Nicole. The sunlight fell on the tips of her hair, and she lifted her chin and said, "Next time I will definitely succeed." The sun shone on her eyelashes, like a butterfly about to take flight. Angel, I will definitely succeed. There was light in her eyes then, and now, that light had finally been extinguished. The moment the elevator doors closed, Nicole finally collapsed onto the floor. She bit her lip tightly to keep herself from crying out loud. But the tears kept falling. Her heart ached as if a piece had been scooped out, empty and letting in cold wind. She finally understood. There are some mistakes that, once made, will never have a chance for redemption. Angel didn't need her anymore. Never again. The elevator reached the first floor, and the doors slowly opened. She stumbled out, stepping out of the St. Fane Tower. The night wind was very cold, hitting her face like a blade. She looked up once, at the light on the top floor of the St. Fane Tower. It was bright as day up there, but there was no longer a place for her. She turned and walked into the pitch-black night. This time, it was truly over. The stage lights of the Houston Convention Center were dazzling, burning hot. I stood at the podium. Behind me was a large screen displaying the Tesla logo. The audience below was packed with representatives from top global corporations. The camera lenses, like dark, deep eyes, transmitted my every word to the world. The Tesla smart home system will officially be launched to the market this summer. My voice spread throughout the hall through the loudspeakers. This system integrates the most advanced AI technology globally. Its core algorithm has won 27 international patents. The camera zoomed in on my clean right ring finger, without any trace of a ring. Below the stage, the applause thundered. It is understood that the core technology of this system originated from the bankrupt Techno Lunar. Is that correct? A reporter suddenly asked the question. The entire venue immediately fell silent. I smiled slightly, my gaze sweeping past that audacious reporter. Tesla acquired all technology through legal processes. As for why the previous owner went bankrupt, I paused just right. Perhaps that question should be directed at their own business decisions. The hall was filled with knowing chuckles. Everyone remembered the scandal that rocked the business world. The bride ran off with her male assistant, ultimately leading to the company's collapse. As I stepped down from the podium, Diego Cortez handed me a tablet. The stock price of Bell Labs, the subsidiary, has risen another 7 points. I glanced at it, signing a few documents casually. Is the reception ready? Everything is prepared. The champagne tower reflected brilliant light under the crystal chandeliers. At the reception, I was chatting with the CEO of a German industrial group. A woman in a long dark blue dress glided over. Angel, I've long looked forward to meeting you. She raised her glass, an expensive diamond watch flashed subtly. I am Lena Montez, from the investment fund Corey Investments. I smiled and shook hands with Lena Montez, the youngest American investment director on Wall Street, who recently returned home to establish her own fund company. Intelligent, sharp, her eyes carrying just the right amount of ambition. I hear Tesla has new plans in Southeast Asia? She took a sip of champagne, the corner of her mouth curling slightly. Perhaps we have room for cooperation. We spoke very well. She was articulate, her market insights were sharp, and she had a well-timed sense of humor. On the large screen behind us, financial news was scrolling. Tesla's subsidiary Bell Labs integrates Technolunar's core assets. New generation smart home platform set to launch. Diego Cortez appeared just in time, quietly reminding me of the next schedule. Lena. I raised my glass to Lena Montes. She smiled and shook my hand. I look forward to seeing you again soon. As I turned away, I glimpsed a camera flashing in the corner of the hall. Tabloid reporters are always tenacious. Tomorrow, the headlines will probably speculate on the relationship between me and Lena Montes. It doesn't matter. In the rented apartment, the heater was broken. Nicole was wrapped in a threadbare blanket bought from a flea market. Her fingers numb with cold. The 10-square-meter room was gloomy and damp, the walls peeling. And outside the window was the gray streetscape of a slum neighborhood. The laptop screen emitted a cold light, replaying the International Financial Summit. On the screen, Angel was impeccably dressed, his gestures poised, commanding the whole situation. The camera zoomed in on his slender hands. The wedding ring that once belonged to her had vanished. Tesla will continue to maintain innovation and responsibility. Angel's voice came through the speaker, clear and decisive, as if from another world. Nicole stared blankly at the screen, tears silently falling. 3 months ago, she was still the CEO of a renowned tech company. Now, she was just a low-level office worker, doing the most mundane chores, with a salary barely enough to pay the rent. Her parents refused to answer her calls. Her friends had all disappeared. And even Turing had made off with her last savings and fled abroad. She heard he still owed money to loan sharks at the casino and had his legs broken. She tremblingly touched the screen. Angel's image slightly distorted under her finger. It was truly ironic. She once possessed the most precious love in the world. The man who stood at the peak of the business empire. Who was once willing to humble himself to cook for her in the kitchen. Yet, for a lowly replacement, she had personally pushed him away. The computer suddenly displayed a push notification. Hot business news. Angel and investment beauty Lena Montes chat happily, new romance rumors erupt. Attached was a photo of Angel and Lena Montes raising glasses and looking at each other at the reception. Both were radiant, like a match made in heaven. Nicole abruptly slammed the laptop shut. Darkness enveloped the cramped room. She huddled in the corner, clutching her knees, finally letting out the long-suppressed sobs. It wasn't that Angel was cruel, but that she was unworthy. The camera slowly zoomed out. In the shabby rented room, the woman trembled, huddled in the darkness. And on the frozen screen was the vigorous smile of the man under the stage lights. Two worlds, never to intersect.